Over the last few decades, anime has given us some absolutely unforgettable stories. But have you ever stopped to think about how certain shows just seem to define an entire era? Well, today, we're diving deep into the iconic trios that did way more than just entertain us. They literally changed the game and shaped how we even think about what makes an anime a legend.
So here's how we're gonna break it all down. First, we're starting with the granddaddy of them all, Dragon Ball, the series that basically wrote the blueprint. Then, we'll watch as the big three took that blueprint and conquered the world. After that, we're gonna shift gears and look at a different kind of trio, one defined by just pure, masterful storytelling. Then we'll jump into the here and now, the viral, high-energy world of the next gen. And finally, we'll tie it all together to see how the very definition of a legendary anime is always evolving.
All right, let's kick things off with the one that really started it all. Long before the massive, sprawling franchises we know and love today, there was one series that laid the foundation for modern shonen. Of course, I'm talking about Dragon Ball.
You know, to really get just how huge Dragon Ball was, you have to picture what the world was like before it. Back then, anime outside of Japan, it was a pretty niche thing. Most shows were kind of short, episodic, and honestly, mostly for kids. They didn't really have that epic, ongoing story that hooks you for years, the kind of thing we take for granted now.
I mean, look at this timeline. The pieces were there, right? You had innovators like Astro Boy, genre-defining shows like Mazinger Z, and Gundam was laying some serious groundwork for complex stories. They were all super important steps, but something was missing. That one special ingredient that could bring a global audience together. That perfect formula for huge stakes and character drama that was just about to explode.
And then, bam! Dragon Ball Z didn't just walk through the door, it blew the door off its hinges. This wasn't just another show. It was a whole new way of doing things. Just imagine, tuning in every single week, not for some one-off adventure, but for the next chapter in a massive saga, with transformations and power levels that just kept getting crazier. It became this whole multimedia empire. That hunger we all have for these long, action-packed adventures, yeah, DBZ basically created that, building the very foundation of shonen as we know it.
So, with DBZ having built the launchpad, the stage was officially set. A new trio was about to step into the spotlight, and they were going to take those lessons and launch anime into a whole new orbit, creating this unstoppable global force.
And the crazy part is, this influence wasn't some secret. The creators were shouting it from the rooftops. Ichiro Oda, the genius behind One Piece, basically said DBZ was his college course on how to build a grand adventure. And you can totally feel it, right? That feeling of a huge, exciting world with unforgettable friends and foes, that's pure Dragon Ball DNA.
It was exactly the same for Naruto. Masashi Kishimoto saw the blueprint for the ultimate shonen rivalry in Goku and Vegeta's never-ending power struggle, and he used that to create the absolute heart of his series. The entire push and pull between Naruto and Sasuke, that blend of brotherhood and conflict, that's a direct descendant of what DBZ pioneered.
And rounding out the trio, you've got Tite Kubo. He looked at DBZ's action, studying how they choreographed those incredible fights and paced the drama. Then, he put his own super stylish spin on it to create the slick sword fights that made Bleach so iconic. It's the perfect example of how influence isn't just copying, it's about building on greatness.
So here's the thing you gotta understand. The big three weren't just copycats. They took that DBZ recipe and added their own secret ingredients, more complex emotions, deeper world building. They didn't just get fans, they built worldwide communities. It was like a cultural tsunami that completely changed what mainstream entertainment could even be, way beyond Japan.
Okay, so let's switch gears for a second and talk about a completely different kind of trio. This group isn't defined by the era they came out in. No, they're defined by pure, timeless quality and the incredible impact they've had on anime as an art form.
And that really makes you think, doesn't it? Does a show have to completely dominate a specific period in time to be a legend? Or can a story be so good that it just stands apart, hitting just as hard whether you watch it today or 10 years from now?
Well, that's exactly where the Triple S3 come in. You've got Death Note, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, and Attack on Titan. These shows didn't all come out at the same time. They're grouped together because they're all considered absolute masterpieces. Each one was seen as the pinnacle of anime for its generation, proving that true greatness never gets old.
And this chart really shows you what made them so special. Their power wasn't about escalating fight scenes, it was about brilliant storytelling. Death Note made a psychological chess match feel like the most intense action scene ever. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is basically taught in schools as the perfect example of flawless plotting and deep themes. In Attack on Titan, man, it blended terrifying horror with mind-bending political mystery. Their legacy isn't built on length, but on sheer perfection.
All right, let's fast forward from the timeless to the immediate. Welcome to today, to an era that's not defined by decade-long stories, but by jaw-dropping, movie-quality animation and the power of social media to create a global obsession, like overnight.
The new flagships on the block are what we're calling the Next Gen 3, Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, and My Hero Academia. Now, they've definitely got the DNA of the greats that came before them, but they are built for right now, for an audience that binges on streaming and shares epic moments online the second they happen.
And when you put them side by side, you can see the whole game has changed. The Big 3 era was a marathon, a long-term commitment. The Next Gen era? It's a series of explosive sprints. It's all about shorter, tighter seasons with unbelievable animation that create massive viral hype, making every single episode feel like a blockbuster movie premiere.
And if you need proof that this model works, look no further than the Demon Slayer Mugen Train movie. I mean, it didn't just do well, it became a global cultural event. It smashed box office records everywhere, proving that this new formula could create moments that capture the entire world's attention instantly.
So the crucial point here is that these shows aren't trying to be the new Big 3. They're playing a totally different sport. Their legend is built on viral moments and stunning animation, not the slow, decade-long cultural dominance of the past. They are, without a doubt, legends. But they're the first Next Gen 3, a whole new category of greatness. So, after taking this trip through 4 very different eras and 4 unique trios, what does it all really tell us about what it takes for an anime to become a legend?
I think the biggest lesson is this. There is no single one-size-fits-all recipe for greatness. It's not a checklist. Each of these eras, each of these groups, they perfectly reflect the audience, the technology, and the culture of their time. What made a show a legend in the 90s is just different from what makes one a legend today. And this really puts it all in perspective. You have Dragon Ball, the original influencer that built the whole thing. You have the Big 3, the absolute dominators who saturated the globe. Then the Triple S, the timeless masterpieces of pure storytelling. And now, the Next Gen, the cinematic viral hits. Each one of them became a legend by being the absolute best at their own game.
And that, of course, leaves us with one final, massive question. We've seen how the definition of legendary keeps changing. As technology and storytelling keep evolving at this insane pace, what's the next iconic trio even going to look like? And what new kind of greatness will they bring to the table?